You're listening to the Intuitive Souls Podcast. I am your host, Erica Russo, psychic medium and intuitive development coach. This show is all about giving you the conversations, tools, and wisdom you need to live life the intuitive way. Whether you are waking up, wanting to develop your intuition and connection to spirit, or wanting to live a more magical life, I got you covered. I give you grounded, practical, and insightful content that helps you wake up, level up, and connect with your soul. I'm excited you're here. Let's wake up together. Hey guys, welcome to the Intuitive Souls Podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm really excited that you're here. If you are an OG and you keep coming back, you keep listening, you keep learning to trust your intuition, taking these conversations, these tools, these tips, these little nuggets of wisdom and bringing them into your life. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you guys for making this so incredibly easy for me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, if you are getting a lot out of this podcast, I would be forever grateful if you can head on over to iTunes and write a 5-star review, because those reviews allow me to get this podcast to the ears that need to hear it. But before you go ahead and click submit, make sure you take a screenshot or a picture and send it to me at hello@ericarusso.co, no M, and I'm going to send you my soul alignment activation meditation for free as a thank you for, taking the time out to do that. I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys. So, guys, this is kind of like a sentimental, oh my gosh, like I'm sitting here with like a big grin on my face because this is tomorrow. This is dropping on December 8th. And on December 9th, 2018, I started this podcast, the first episode ever launched. And I am just sitting here grinning from ear to ear, if you guys can sense that, because I have just learned so much in these 2 years, not just as a podcaster, but as a business owner, as a human having a human experience. I have just learned so much. And as a celebratory episode, I figured I would kind of talk about some of the things I wanted to look back on the last 2 years of me being in business and me doing this podcast and putting myself out there, and talk about the lessons and the things that I have learned along the way that have really helped me, while walking this spiritual path. Because guys, this is not, as beautiful as it is and as healing as the spiritual path is, it's a shit show sometimes. And, I feel like somebody needs to say it. It can be a total shit show. And, that's really the reason why I started this podcast, was because when I first woke up, when I first started diving in and asking the questions of like, why am I the way that I am? Why do I do these things? Why is my world like this? What am I doing here? You know what I mean? I realized how incredibly lonely it can be when you decide to answer the calling to your soul, because it is scary and it is very lonely. And if I wanted to give back, and that was really the biggest thing, was because I just had this knowing, right? I just had this knowing that this podcast and me just being open and honest and vulnerable about my journey and my lessons and my vulnerabilities and having these conversations with other like-minded people, this could really help somebody else. And that was the biggest reason why I decided to create this podcast. So what I want to do today is I want to share with you some things that I have learned the last 2 years in business, as a spiritual entrepreneur, as a psychic medium, as a podcaster, as someone who is a content creator on, social media. I really wanted to just speak my truth. I really wanted to talk about the things that need to be spoken about and just tell you guys the lessons that I've learned along the way. So maybe in hopes it will give you a sense of relief, or maybe it will help you in something that's going on in your life. So I can only come up with like 9 things that, were big things for me the last 2 years. So let's just go ahead and dive right in, guys. So the first thing I want to talk about, and a big lesson that I have learned, is surface spirituality. Now, I don't know if I created this term or it is a term or whatever, but when I talk about surface spirituality, I talk about it where, the whole spiritual thing, right? Becoming spiritual, lighting up some fucking sage, buying the crystals, talking about manifestation. It's a trend. And it can be very enticing, and it can be very like, ooh, I want to manifest this, and ooh, I need this crystal, and oh, bad vibes and all that shit. That's surface spirituality, guys. True spirituality is the path back to your soul. It is when you come in contact with your higher self. It is when you realize that we really are all one, and that you question yourself, and that you push yourself, and you allow yourself to be the observer. You don't attach yourself to the stories that we continuously keep on telling ourselves. We realize that there is a much bigger purpose out there than these muggle lives that we live. And that's what spirituality is about. It's about remembering that you hold the power of the universe, of God within you. It is not about manifestation. It is not about fucking crystals. It is not about, manifesting all of this money. It's not about that, okay? It is so enticing, and trust me when I tell you, there is so much content out there that touches on these surface spirituality subjects, right? So when I talk about surface spirituality, I would say that, obviously the law of attraction, manifestation, crystals, witchcraft, anything really external, right? We have to remember that the soul's journey is an internal journey. It's about going within oneself. So the surface spirituality stuff is all external, right? All of that stuff is external. We have to remember that the soul's path is going inward. We don't need witchcraft for that. We don't need crystals. We don't need to be a crazy manifester. We don't need essential oils. We really don't need it. As much as I fucking love the shit, we don't need it. We don't need it. So be aware of that surface spirituality, because it's very easy to hang on that edge of, the surface when it comes to our spiritual path, because it's pretty and it's all love and light and all of that shit. Don't do that. Jump right in. Be the fool in the tarot. Just jump right over the fucking edge. Have faith. Allow yourself to learn about yourself. Okay? Allow yourself to shock yourself. Don't stand on the surface spirituality stuff. Don't do it. Dive right into it. Start asking the questions why you are the way you are. Start sitting with your shadow. Start looking back at your life and the things that you have already created and manifested, the relationships that you've had. Really start being the observer, right? And I think the problem with this is like when we really truly become the observer, and when we realize that like we have created our lives, we have created every problem, every relationship with the choices that we have created. A lot of people are afraid of looking back on their lives and seeing everything that they have manifested or have not manifested. And they'll feel weird about it. They'll feel uncomfortable about it, because at the end of the day, every relationship, every decision that we have made it. Okay. Our life is a series of the choices that we create. And some people are so afraid to sit there and look at the choices that we have all created for ourselves, because they know that they were the wrong ones. Or they're afraid of the feelings attached to the outcomes that have been manifested. Okay? Don't be that person. You're not that fragile, okay? You can sit with your shadow. You are stronger than what you believe. Stop giving away your power. Don't sit on the surface spirituality shit. Allow yourself to truly become the observer of your life. Allow yourself to heal. Allow yourself to feel uncomfortable. You're gonna get through it, you know? For me, being the Aquarius that I am and the weirdo that I am, you know, emotions were such a fucking problem for me. They still are a problem for me. But when you realize that those emotions, even if they're really negative, even if they are not good feeling emotions, they're just emotions. They're just energy in motion. You're going to be able to get through it. Okay? Give yourself some credit. So, another thing, this has been the next thing I want to talk about is something that's been really big the last couple of months for me as far as, you know, growing my business, growing as a person. And it's something that really needs to be spoken about because it's so true. So trusting the unknown is probably one of the hardest lessons that you will ever have to encounter. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Trusting the unknown is one of the hardest lessons that you are going to have to encounter. It is not just you that questions yourself. It is not just you that has a problem surrendering or a lack of faith, okay? It's the whole human bundle. We all have problems surrendering. I don't think I've ever met someone who doesn't have a problem surrendering, spiritual or not spiritual, right? We feel as though when we're able to control situations, control things in our lives, that we are safe and it's within our power. Hate to break it to you guys, but not really. Not really. When we are in that wanting to control phase, right? When we are control freaks or type A personalities, it's because we have a lack of faith and we have a hard time surrendering. Okay? Surrendering to whatever the circumstances are, surrendering to the experiences. It's so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. And, you know, that's one of the biggest reasons why I created the Modern Mystic Society and why I do the things that I do, because honestly, I'm going to be real with you guys. Every person that I work with, every person in the Modern Mystic Society, I think that I've heard each and every member say to one degree or another, like, oh, I didn't trust my intuition, or am I going crazy, or something along those lines, right? Because we're programmed to be that way, because we're programmed to be logical, because we are programmed that we need scientific proof or explanations to things. That's really it, right? And if I can tell you what to do, if you are one of those people that maybe you're just like, am I psychic? Am I an empath? Am I a medium? The first thing I need to tell you is, while you're working on your mediumship, while you're working on all of these things, you got to be working on surrendering as well. Trust me when I tell you that. You need to start surrendering. You need to start having faith. Maybe build up a spiritual practice where you pray or whatever. But doing this work, you need to surrender. The more you surrender, the better off you are. Okay, if you're going to be a spiritual being having a human experience, if you're going to be a spiritual entrepreneur, right, where you're going and helping people and guiding people into healing or giving readings or whatever, you need to be working on your own surrendering. It's not going to happen overnight. I can promise you that. It is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a while. It might take years. It might take your whole lifetime. Okay? It's something that needs to be known. A lot of people have a problem when I talk about surrendering. That is your indication that is something that you need to work on. Okay? So, the third thing I want to talk about is investing in yourself. Okay? Investing in yourself. So the internet is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful place filled with so much content and blogs and TikToks and Instagrams and all of that stuff. Okay? There is a lot of great content out there that will allow you to learn a bit more about the soul and your path and everything under the spirituality umbrella, right? But when I tell you I was that person for many years where I never invested in a course, I never invested in a mentor, maybe it was because I didn't have money, but what I have learned along the way is that it's not so much the investment to a person, so to speak, but it's the investment that you are showing the universe that you want to grow, that you want to expand, that this is important to you. Okay, so buying a book, hiring a mentor, getting a reading, all of these things are showing the universe that you mean business, that this is important to you, right? It's an even energy exchange. And this is something that, I know that it's hard, guys. There was points in my life where I had no money, right? Like I had no money for a mentor. I had no money to even buy a book, but it was important to me. And, what I did was when I first started developing, we were broke as shit. And like when I tell you broke as shit, I was getting overdraft fees every fucking week. It was just a hot mess, right? I have been there. I have done that. But this path and teaching myself, to invest in myself and invest in my spiritual growth, what I did was I got a 5-gallon water bottle, and every week I would put all of the spare change around the house, and then I got the Ibotta app. And so when I went grocery shopping, I would get money back. And, between doing the Ibotta app and like all those Ebates stuff or whatever and cutting some coupons as well as my spare change, I would somehow manifest $20 each Monday to drive myself 45 minutes away to a spiritual development circle because it was important to me. Because it was really important to me. Now, it may not sound like much, but, at that point in my life, it was a big deal. So I was at that place of being dead broke, but I found a way. And I think at the end of the day, when something is important to you, you're going to do whatever it takes to make it work. You know what I mean? So invest in yourself. I'm not saying to go and invest $10,000 in a freaking spiritual retreat unless you want to, but be okay with grabbing some books from Amazon that are intriguing to you about subjects that you want to learn. Be okay with hiring a mentor or taking a course or doing that, because you're going to get so much more out of content that you pay for than what you get for free. I mean, let's be real. Let's just be logical right now. Are you going to take better care of sunglasses that you buy from the dollar store that were $1, or are you going to take better care of $50 or $75 sunglasses? Are you going to invest in a nice case for those sunglasses? It's human nature. And, after I got over the fact that I'm a frugal bitch, I realized that you do get what you pay for. So there's that. Now, another thing that I want to talk about, and I have spoken about this in other podcast episodes. I actually have a podcast episode where me and Hannah kind of dive deep about this, is that not everyone in the spiritual community is a light worker. Okay? Oh my God. I hate that I'm the bitch that talks about this stuff, but you know what? I don't know if anyone else is, so I'll just talk about it. So I have met some people who are mediums. I have met professional spiritual readers, life coaches. I've met a lot of people, while doing this work. And I will tell you that some of these people are the biggest jackasses I have ever met in my whole life. Some of these people have the biggest fucking egos I have ever seen in my life. Some of these people, even though they're mediumistic, have narcissistic personality disorder. It's the truth. And anybody can go and put light worker in their social media outlets and put it on their Facebook page or anything along those lines. But you want to know the true test. Do you really want to know the true test when it comes to, is this person real? Is this person really of the light? Are they really here to help people? It's their actions. There's no tarot card that's going to tell you something that their actions are showing for you already. Okay? Look at the people's actions. If you see that they come off as pompous or arrogant, or if they are just assholes and they're fear-mongering, they're not a light worker. You can be psychic and not be a light worker. Okay? Yeah. Unpopular opinion, but it's true. There are a lot of assholes out there. There are a lot of scam artists out there that will, come off as if they are high and mighty and that they're doing this to raise the collective vibration. That's a crock of shit. Just look at their actions. It's as simple as that. So that is something. And the next thing I want to talk about, and this is a big thing, right? I get a lot of DMs and I get a lot of people reaching out, trying to figure out the right way to do something. And here's the thing. There really is no right way to do spirituality. There really isn't. You have to do what's right for you. You have to do what you feel called to do. Don't ever think that there's one particular way to do a psychic reading or there's one particular way to clear a space or anything, because there isn't. There's so many different types of ways. And, the path of spirituality is the path of intention, and it's the path of realizing your power. So don't, when you're doing something, like if you're doing a ritual or maybe lighting a house of intuition candle or doing a spiritual bath or whatever the case may be, allow yourself to trust your intuition during the process. Don't be so rigid and being like, am I doing it right? Am I not? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's the intention of you creating the bath. It's the intention of you lighting the candle that matters. Everything else is secondary. So there really isn't any right way to do anything. There really isn't. So don't take it so seriously. This path is not a dictatorship. It's just not. If you wanted to be told what is right and what is wrong, you would have found a religion. You would have found a religion. Let's be completely real. You're listening to this podcast right now because there's something inside of you that's saying that this is what I want for myself. I want to remember the power that's within me. I want to learn to trust my intuition. I want to be connected to source. I want to learn and grow and expand. You don't want to be told what to believe, who to marry, and how to live your life. You don't want that. If you wanted that, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. Trust yourself. Trust the niggle. Trust it. Okay. So the sixth thing I want to share with you guys is there is no substitution for hard work, right? I'm just going to say it. You can sit there and journal all you want about the things that you want to manifest and, your dream life and everything. But there's also the law of action, where you have to put forth an effort into the manifestation process. You can't just sit there and create a vision board and think that everything is going to come into fruition, because it's not. You need to start taking action. And honestly, I wish that this was a more spiritual answer, but it isn't. And it's very true. There really isn't any substitution for hard work. Okay? I think that hard work is and being dedicated into what you want to manifest, it not only is a huge thing where it shows the universe, it shows God that this is something that you really truly want, but it's also something that makes you feel good about yourself once the thing is manifested. Take it from my own experience. There really isn't any substitution for hard work. There is no one quick fix or spell or ritual that's going to ever come close to just having a good work ethic. So remember that. Now, number 7, take the leap before the net appears. And this also goes, side to side with surrendering and having faith. There has been a couple of instances in my own life and in my own business this year that I had to take action to things for the growth of my business before the net even appeared. And it was absolutely traumatizing. It was very scary for me. And we have to do that. We have to do that. And again, this is also about faith and surrendering. And I know it's hard, guys, but take the leap before the net appears and just hold faith, as hard as that may be. Now, the 8th thing is be okay with not being liked. This, oh man, this is a big one. And a lot of people don't like this. A lot of people sit in the spiritual closet because they are afraid of what others will think of them if they were to come out as a medium or a psychic or an empath or just a spiritual being. A lot of people have problems with this, with not being liked. And I am going to be the person that's going to tell you this right now. There's probably at least one person out there, even while you're sitting in the spiritual closet, that doesn't like you. It's a fact. It's a fact. We have to remember to stop caring. Someone else's opinion of us is none of our business. Even if it's our mother, our father, our spouse, it's none of our business. Okay? Again, the relationships that we have that are external from our own relationship with self is from the choices that we have made in our lives. Our spouse, our friendships, our family, these are all external. These are all external relationships. And as important as they are, the most important relationship is the relationship with self. And that should be your priority. It doesn't matter what other people think of you. It matters of what you think of you. Don't worry about it. And I know that it's easier said than done. Trust me, I get it. But we need more people to just own who they are. We need more people to step out of the cookie cutter lifestyle that social media shows us. We need people to just show up being authentically them. That's what we need. We don't need any more fucking Kardashians in the world. We need people that are just going to show up with no makeup on, looking like a hot mess, and just showing up because they want to, because they have something to say, and that because they want to help people. We don't need to be perfect. We don't need to be perfect. We just need to be ourselves. And that is something that we have to remember, especially if you're trying to do this in a capacity where you want to do this online, where you want to help a lot of people. You just have to show up. You just show up. Trust me when I tell you. Trust me when I tell you. Just show up. Just start talking about the things that you're passionate about. Don't worry about your fucking makeup. Don't worry about the extra weight. Don't worry about who's going to see the video or whatever. Just show up being you. Do it. Show up for yourself. I'm telling you right now, you can either sit there in the closet and you can hide this beautiful magic that's within you because of maybe someone not liking your opinion, or maybe someone getting freaked out because, you're spiritual or whatever like that. Or you can just show up. Be who you are. Talk about the things that you are passionate about. And help a lot of people along the way. The choice is ultimately yours, but I can promise you that there's at least one person in your life that doesn't like you right now. Oh, well. Oh, well. Someone else's opinion of you is none of your business. It's none of your business. And once you realize that, it will be a little bit easier to step into your power. So the last thing I want to talk about, guys, and this is something that has been a big trend for me, has been a big lesson this year for me, is to not give up. Don't give up. If you have a goal, if you have a vision for your life, if you want to achieve something, all you have to do is not give up. It has nothing to do with getting it right or having it perfect. If you knew how many times you have to fail, you would probably want to quit. There is going to be a lot of battles within your own mental mind. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to come up, especially if you're an entrepreneur, and you just have to push through. It's okay to fall down. It's okay to fail. But you can't give up. You can't give up. So, those are the 9 things that have been really big in my journey the past 2 years since I started this podcast. And I can't believe that I've been doing this for 2 years already. I just want to say thank you so much for listening. And thank you for reaching out to me and making this possible, and just your support and being on this path for yourself. And I really am truly so grateful for each and every one of you. And I love you guys, and I cannot wait to share everything that I am creating for 2021. And just, it's going to be so much fun. But thanks again, and I love you guys. Have a great week. Want a place to develop your psychic and mediumship abilities? The Modern Mystic Society is now open for enrollment. This is a low-cost monthly membership that gives you access to monthly trainings, 4 virtual live development sessions, and access to a community of like-minded healers, lightworkers, and mystics for less than $1.20 per day. Head on over to ericarusso.co to join today, but hurry, this offer is closing soon. I'll see you inside the society.